Hi, Jamil, and let's go ahead and take a look at your business cards, your envelopes, and your associated letterhead. So we'd start with the business cards, and I'd say you've got a nice array of experimentation going on here. So this is good. Um, I, Information here. So I'm guessing when you say information, that's the contact information. One of the things I would have liked to have seen in the configuration of your business card studies is whether this is going to be this looks like it's justified type, but is this going to be all centered? Is this centered type? And I think that's an important consideration there. We've got the information, red background here, white background here, logo here, and then the contact information here. So that, I think that's an interesting configuration. Now, my question is, this right here, this design motif right here, is that the same kind of heartbeat that is in the logo? And it's good continuation if it is. If it's not, I would consider doing so. That way you've got a nice continuation between the logo and this actual design motif here. So then over here you have logo enlarged but faded in the background, and then you have the full logo here. But I think that's going to create a really super busy business card where the viewer might not have a chance to really readily see the pertinent information at hand, which of course would be the logo and the contact information. Logo, name, this is an interesting configuration. I think you got a lot of interesting things going on here. My recommendation would be to make sure that your business card follows the same visual language as the envelope and the letterhead. So, for instance, you wouldn't mix, like, let's say, this business card with this letterhead, simply because this letterhead has this design element here at the bottom, but the business card doesn't. So make sure that when you lay down all three in front of you, they look like they were designed at the same time by the same person, using the same components and following the same general compositional outline, meaning that, you know, the placement of the logo, if the placement of the logo is in the upper left-hand corner on the letterhead, you might follow that suit through by placing it in the upper left-hand corner in the business card and the associated envelope. Okay. One thing I wanted to mention about the envelopes is that this is probably not going to be an option because the United States Post Office has regulations, and a lot of those regulations include where the actual address goes. And lower left-hand corner, I don't think I've ever seen an envelope that has the recipient's information on in the lower left-hand corner. Usually, it's traditionally right here. Stamp traditionally goes right here. And what you do over here is up to you. So that's the one of the things I want to say about an envelope is it's probably the least versatile of all of the stationery pieces, specifically including the business card and the letterhead. Envelope is the least versatile because typically you're kind of stuck placing your logo in the upper left-hand corner, which is not a bad thing because typically we start any document we read, we start in the upper left-hand corner. So I exploit that phenomenon by using that area to place pertinent information. For example, if you go to any magazine or any poster or any publication or flyers, it's the viewer always, well, in the West, the viewer always looks right here first. So, for example, if you have a magazine spread on each page, this area right here is going to be your highest real estate. It's going to cost more to advertise in the upper left-hand corner than it is on any other portion of the page, simply because that's where we look first when we turn any page. That's where we look first. So I think it's good to use that area to reinforce the branding of the logo itself. All right, so one other comment. I wouldn't, this is something that was done pretty prominently in the 80s, the 90s and early 2000s, where you would have letterheads with when you say faded, that's called a watermark. And so you have the logo here, then you have this faded version of the logo here. And I think it really dates the piece. I don't think it works anymore. It's just something that used to be done. They used to do in the past, and it just it was overdone for so many years. So I would rather not see you do it for your final portfolio. We have the same thing here, have the same thing here. And you've done it in many, many different areas. Here, the faded logo thing that you're talking about. So I would try to stay away from that watermark. And then in closing, I will say that, yes, go ahead and just design this with consistency in mind. So in other words, you need to be as consistent as you can between all three pieces. Again, I just want to use that comparison of saying you should be able to lay down your letterhead, your business card, and your envelope on a desk and clearly see that they have been designed in accordance with one another, following the same elemental and principal guidelines regarding placement of the logo, placement of the contact information, design elements, etc. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be glad to clarify. Thank you very much.